When people hear the words witch trial, one place almost always comes to mind: a small village in colonial Massachusetts. Salem, a place where fear spiraled out of control. Neighbors accused neighbors, and innocent people died. But here's something most people never realize. Salem wasn't history's greatest witch hunt. Not even close. Salem executed 19 people. Across Europe, tens of thousands were put to death. Entire villages became trapped in waves of terror. Children accused parents. Neighbors accused neighbors. People confessed to impossible crimes just to make the pain stop. And the strangest part isn't who killed more people, it's why. Because two societies sharing similar fears produced very different outcomes. Tonight, we're comparing America's most infamous witch trials against Europe's darkest obsession. And Salem is about to look very small. To understand Salem, we need to understand the people who lived there. The Puritans weren't simply religious. They believed they were participating in a struggle between God and Satan himself. To them, the wilderness around them wasn't merely forest. It was danger. Native conflicts, disease outbreaks, harsh winters, and constant uncertainty surrounded daily life. Life was difficult. Children died frequently. Illness appeared without explanation. Crops failed. And when people can't explain suffering, they search for answers. In 1692, strange behavior began appearing among several young girls in Salem village. Convulsions, screaming, violent movements. Doctors couldn't explain it. Eventually, they reached a terrifying conclusion: witchcraft. Almost immediately, suspicion spread. If Satan was attacking the village, someone nearby must be helping him. But while Salem's fear grew inside one isolated community, Europe had been feeding fear for centuries. For hundreds of years, Europe had endured catastrophe after catastrophe. The Black Death killed enormous portions of the population. Wars devastated regions. Crop failures brought famine. Religious conflicts tore countries apart. When disaster struck repeatedly, people looked for explanations, and some believed witches were causing the chaos. They blamed witches for dead livestock, failed harvests, disease outbreaks, storms, even unexplained deaths. People began believing witches gathered in secret at night, that they met Satan, that they cursed entire communities. And over time, these stories transformed into something much worse, because fear eventually became procedure, and procedure became hunting. This is where Salem and Europe begin separating dramatically. In Salem, evidence was strange. People claimed invisible spirits attacked them. They said specters appeared, that unseen forces pinched them, scratched them, tormented them. This became known as spectral evidence. Imagine standing in court while someone points at you and says, "I saw your spirit attack me." How do you defend yourself against that? You can't. And yet, people tried. But Europe often went even further. European investigators developed methods designed to identify witches. Some sound absurd today. Others are horrifying. One method involves searching for a witch mark. Investigators believe Satan left marks on his followers. Moles, scars, birthmarks. Anything unusual became suspicious. Then there were swimming tests. Victims were tied up and thrown into water. If they sank, innocent. If they floated, guilty. The logic made almost no sense. But panic rarely requires logic. And then came torture. This changed everything. People under unbearable pain will say almost anything. Many confess to impossible crimes, flying through the night, meeting Satan, attending secret gatherings, transforming into animals. And under torture, confessions rarely stopped with one person, because investigators always asked, who else was there? Suddenly, one accusation became 5. 5 became 20. 20 became hundreds. Fear had become self-replicating. Salem lasted for roughly 1 year. Around 200 people were accused. 19 were hanged. One man, Giles Corey, was pressed beneath heavy stones until he died. Several others died in prison while waiting for trial. For the people living there, Salem must have felt like the end of the world. Neighbors were disappearing. Families were breaking apart. Anyone could become the next accusation. But Salem was tiny compared to what had already happened in Europe. Across Europe, historians commonly estimate that between 40,000 and 60,000 people were executed for witchcraft. Some estimates suggest the true number may have been even higher. And unlike Salem, this didn't happen over 1 year. It happened across centuries. The largest waves of witch hunting exploded between roughly 1450 and 1750. Entire regions became consumed by fear, and nowhere became deadlier than parts of Germany within the Holy Roman Empire. Some towns experienced repeated witch panics that lasted years. Imagine waking up and hearing that another neighbor had confessed, then another, then another. The accusations spread like a disease. One of the most terrifying examples occurred in the German city of Würzburg. The panic became so severe that even children were accused. City officials, teachers, priests, wealthy citizens, the poor. Nobody was safe. Contemporary reports claim that hundreds of people were executed. Families vanished. Entire sections of society became caught in the hysteria. Then there was Bamberg. The Prince Bishop of Bamberg aggressively pursued witch trials. Special prisons were built. Interrogations intensified. Executions increased. Even powerful people found themselves accused. At one point, accusations reached government officials themselves. Fear had become completely uncontrollable. Scotland also experienced brutal witch hunts. King James VI personally believed witchcraft threatened his kingdom. He became deeply interested in hunting witches and even wrote about the subject. His influence helped strengthen witch hunting efforts. Across France and Switzerland, communities experienced their own waves of panic. Thousands were questioned. Thousands were accused. And many died. The horrifying part is that these weren't isolated incidents. Europe wasn't experiencing one Salem. It was experiencing hundreds. Again, and again, and again. For someone living during these centuries, accusations may have felt endless. Imagine hearing church bells ring and wondering whether another execution was happening. Imagine watching prison carts moving through town. Imagine wondering if your own family could be next. Suddenly, Salem begins looking less like history's largest witch hunt and more like a single ripple in an ocean of fear. Eventually, something unexpected happened. People started doubting the accusations. Judges became skeptical. Community leaders questioned spectral evidence. Even families supporting the trials began worrying, because accusations kept expanding. And eventually, people realized, if invisible evidence could condemn anyone, no one was safe. The trials collapsed. Years later, apologies followed. Compensation was paid to families. But Europe often struggled to stop the cycle, because torture kept generating new names. New names created new arrests. New arrests created more confessions. The system fed itself. Fear became machinery, and machinery keeps moving until someone shuts it down. Eventually, skepticism spread across Europe too. Science advanced, legal standards improved, and belief in witch conspiracies weakened. Slowly, the hunts faded, but not before leaving thousands dead. The most disturbing part of witch hunts isn't the strange beliefs, it's the people involved. Most weren't monsters. Most believed they were protecting families, protecting communities, protecting society itself. Fear changes people. When uncertainty grows, people search for explanations. And once a group becomes identified as the problem, panic can spread astonishingly fast. History shows this repeatedly. People want certainty. People want someone to blame. And fear can make ordinary people do extraordinary things. Salem became famous because America remembers it. It became part of schools, books, movies, and history. But thousands of people across Europe disappeared into forgotten records, forgotten names, forgotten lives. The scariest part of witch hunts wasn't magic. It wasn't curses. It wasn't demons. It was how easily ordinary people became convinced that monsters were hiding among them, and how quickly fear became stronger than evidence. If you enjoyed this journey into bizarre history, subscribe to Bizarre History Vault for more strange stories history almost forgot.